Take two. So I'm in my policy area, the compliance area for Azure, and I'm working with PCIDSS for for my virtual machine. And so what I'm going to solve, what I'm going to work through today is remediating um, the PCIDSS Windows firewall compliance requirement. So honestly, just to recap, this actually gets configured inside of um, Defender for Cloud. So when you go into Defender for Cloud, you can open this up here, and you can open up Cloud Security, you open up Regulatory Compliance, and as we scroll down, you can see I have a couple of items here listed as ISO 27001, NIST 853, but what I'm working through today, which Azure just conveniently wanted to remove my PCI DSS today. Let's try to refresh this now because it's being weird. Azure is a very strange product, I will say. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I'm glad I'm catching this on video because this is good all consistently. So if you come into policy, if we go into here, we see PCI DSS 4.0.1, and we can see we're going to filter by domain. And we see a lot of things aren't compliant right now, so log integrity monitoring, intrusion detection prevention, so I'll look into that later. But we're going to start with network security controls, which is requirement 1. And you can see here, I have 4 things that are compliant. Now, so I'm going to launch a machine really quick, and I'm going to try to take this from basically non-compliant from a new virtual machine all the way through to making it compliant. So I'll select my resource group, I'll select my virtual machine name, Windows. Okay, there's an extension that we need to add. So it is called, alright, so Azure Performance Machine Configuration. So Azure Machine Configuration Extension for Windows. So this is what it's actually called. So we'll just take a screenshot of that later from this video. So this machine configuration performs audit configuration operation inside of virtual machine policies such as security baselines for Linux, Windows, can't check settings. Alright, so that's what it should be, Azure Machine Configuration Extension for Windows. Let's click on that, we'll click next. Azure Machine, okay, create. Alright, so we did an Azure Machine Configuration Extension for Windows. And what I want to do is I'll go into virtual machines. See if I can, okay, I can see this Windows Server 2, and I just want to look at whether that extension, alright, there we go, Azure Policy for Windows, so that extension was correct. Alright, so the deployment's still in progress, so while that's still working on that option, I'm just going to go back to policy. Let's go to policies instead of controls. So I can just look for the one I know I'm looking for. Options. Okay, here we go. So we can see there's multiple. So earlier I was in this one, and I need to go into network security to make sure we're on the current one we need. And this is actually what we're supposed to have. 1.2.1 is the requirement that this falls under. And so if you go under configuration standards for NSE rule sets are defined and implemented inside of policy. So actually, it's going to be underneath PCI 4.0.1. So you click on the PCI 4.0.1, you find this particular NSE rule sets for securing networks. And then you go into policies, and you'll see the one that we're working on today is going to be security. Windows machines should meet requirements for security options, network security, which we fixed, but this video is going to show the process of us fixing it. network security, this particular requirement, we have to address 5 different network security policies, which relate to configure encryption types of Alpha Kerberos, LAN manager authentication level, LDAP client signing requirements, minimum security, session security for NTLM SSP for your client and your server. So you can see here, it'll give you some default values that are going to be expected at 214.748.3644. If you see a value like that, that means that it represents multiple options that you have to choose. Then you have default value of 5, default value of 1, default value of 5379, 5200. So they give a default value, but yeah. So actually, this is what I was looking for, 214. So the Kerberos, when you see this value, this is the more so the registry value that it's going to give you that represents multiple. One of the choices does multiple things. So sometimes you can have like, just like if you have like a multiple choice where one says like A is option 1, B is option 2, C is option 1 and 2. So that's kind of what this represents. This will be like option this and this. So it may say like allow Kerberos and also require authentication or something like that. And so we'll jump into that. Okay, so we have to try to fix these configurations in about 10 minutes because that's all the time that I have. So network access, network security, configure encryption types for Kerberos. And we'll do this here and see what we can identify. I wish I can zoom in. Can I zoom in? I think I can zoom in. Can zoom in. Alright, and it says it needs to be RC4 and AS 128. Alright, blah. Okay, we're good. We're going to set our record. LAN manager authentication level, right? Send NTLM v2 responses only. Refuse LM and NTLM. That's number 5. You're about to change the setting to a value that may affect compatibility with. Okay, that's okay. I know that you were looking for possibly a video that can walk you through the Azure regulatory compliance PCI standards, and I created this video so that it can be a resource on YouTube to get you from starting a particular requirement, specifically for this video, requirement 1, dealing with Windows firewalls, and getting you all the way to the point of being actually compliant. Now, of course, you probably, if you were like me, you probably look for a bunch of videos on YouTube that would not help you get to exactly what you were trying to accomplish. And what I will say is this video gets you from start to finish and gets you a completely compliant status for this particular requirement that we're starting with. The official video is actually about 2 hours long. This is just a sample video. You know, if you want to get this video, you can reach out to me, and I'll either provide you the video, or if you would like a resource that someone could actually help you go from non-compliant to compliant on your virtual machines or any other Windows device that you have, then I can walk you through that process as well. So feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn, Scotty Harris Jr. You can look up linkedin.com/in/Scotty Harris Jr. That'll take you to this site here, and connect with me. Shoot me a message. Let me know you saw the video, and you would either like to get the rest of the 2-hour complete video, or if you want to get actual help from a live person, then let me know. I can assist you with that as well, and help you get your resources in compliance. So what I have narrowed this down to is I just ran this, and let's see, true. If it's in desired state, true. Everything is true. Alright, so